What is a percentage? So a percentage essentially means out of 100. So for example, if I said what is 50%, we can write that out as 50 out of 100 as a fraction. So this fraction can be simplified by dividing top and bottom by a common factor. So here we can divide by 50 to give us a half. So here we've just shown that 50% is the same as a half. Now let's look at another example. Let's take the example of 75%. Now this is the same as 75 out of 100. Again, we can simplify this and divide by a common factor. So here we can divide by 25 and that equals 3 over 4. So 3/4 is the same as 75%. Let's look at another example. 25% is equal to 25% means out of 100, so it's out of 100. We can simplify this by dividing top and bottom by another common number, 25 and 25. So here this is a quarter. So a quarter is the same as 25%. And let's consider one more example, 30%, which is equal to 30 out of 100. And we can divide top and bottom by 10 to simplify. That equals 3 over 10. So 3/10 is the same as 30%. So this approach of writing a percentage out of 100 can be applied to any number. Now let's consider an example where we are trying to work out the percentage. Let's say we have 50 red cars and 50 blue cars, and we are asked what is the percentage of red cars. So what we do here is we write the number of red cars over the total number of cars. So the number of red cars we know is 50, and the total is 50 red plus 50 blue, so that's 100. So it's 50 out of 100. Now this is already in the format of being out of 100, so this is the same as 50%. Now looking back at what we wrote previously, here we saw that 50 out of 100 was the same as 50%. This question, the answer here is also 50%. Half of the number of cars are red, hence it's 50%. Let's look at another example. We will assume that there are 25 red cars and 75 blue cars. What is the percentage of red cars? So the number of red cars is 25 over the total, which is 25 plus 75, which is 100. This is already out of 100, so it's in the format of a percentage. So the answer is 25%. Seeing this 25 out of 100 should remind you of what we saw in the previous example. So here we saw 25 out of 100 was equal to 25%. Let's look at another example. Let's say we have 30 red cars and 70 blue cars. And we are asked again, what is the percentage of red cars? So here the number of red cars is 30. The total is 30 plus 70, which is 100. So again, this is already out of 100. So you can write this as 30%. This is consistent with what we saw earlier. 30 out of 100 is 30%. Now let's consider a slightly different example. Let's say we have 3 red cars and 1 blue car, and we are asked what is the percentage of red cars. So number of red cars is 3, and the total now is 3 plus 1, which is 4. Now this is a fraction you should recognize from our earlier calculation, 3 over 4, which is equal to 75%. But let's say we don't remember that, then how do you work it out? Well, we know that as a percentage we need to write this as equal to something over 100. So our question really becomes, how do we change that 4 to be 100? So here we can multiply by 25. But if we do it to the bottom number, we must do it to the top number also. So 3 times 25 is 75. To do this multiplication, you can use the grid method. So 25 has 2 numbers, so we draw 2 lines, and 3 has 1 number, so we draw 1 line. For times in the top left, 25 is written as 20 and 5. 3 is written in this box on the left, and then we multiply top and bottom. So 20 times 3 is 60, 2 times 3 is 6, add the 0 on the end, and then 3 times 5 is 15. Add the 2 numbers that we just wrote in green, 60 plus 15, and you get 5 and 7, 75. So now that we wrote it out as 75 out of 100, we haven't answered the question fully, so we need to write this out as 75%. So the percentage of red cars is 75%. Let's look at another example. Say we have 1 red car and 3 blue cars. So the first thing we do is we write the number of red cars. The number of red cars is 1, and the total number is 1 plus 3, so that's 4 cars. So again, to write this out as a percentage, we need to make the denominator equal to 100, so we can multiply this by 25, and the top one must also be multiplied by 25. So 1 times 25, 25. So this is 25 out of 100, so our answer becomes 25% are red cars. Let's look at another example. Let's say we have 3 red cars and 7 blue cars. So the number of red cars that we have is 3, and the total number of cars is 3 plus 7, which is 10. Again, we need to make the denominator equal to 100, so we can multiply 10 by 10 to give us 100, and if we do it to the bottom, we must do it to the top, so that's also times 10. 3 times 10 is 30. So our answer, we've got it in the form of 30 out of 100, which is in the percentage format, 30%. This is consistent with what we saw earlier in this bottom section, where 3 over 10 is equal to 30%. So what we have just seen is that we can go from a percentage to a fraction, and then a simplified fraction, and we can go back from a simplified fraction to a fraction that's out of 100 and use that to write it out as a percentage. The key thing to remember is that percentage means out of 100. So now, considering this last example, we looked at essentially 2 different types. So we had a red and we had a blue. Now, the same approach can be expanded to if you have more types. So for example, we have a red, we have a blue, we can say we can have a green, yellow, purple. And instead of having 7 here, we change this so the rest add up to 7. So for example, we can have 2, 1, 2, and 2. So now these 4 items still add up to 7, and we have the 3. Our working has not changed. Number of red cars is still 3, and the total is still 10. So we have 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2, which is 10. So here our answer is still 30%.
You can download the application on Google Play or App Store, and you can visit our website mathslegends.co.uk.